Are you struggling to get that book done? Well, we have a quick and easy fun tip for you today. You are going to love it. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey toward publication. I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
And I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. You'll notice that we are still short a person. Our friend Tina is in the Pacific Northwest visiting her mama. Could use some prayers for her mom. She's had some medical issues of late, and just be praying for Tina as she loves on her mom and takes care of her mom out there, and let her know that we miss you, Tina. Hope you're having a good visit with your mom.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like she's getting to enjoy a lot of the beautiful Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm. And we have some people already in our chat this morning. Sarah Hawalde is. I was just going to say Sarah, and I'm like, no, I'm going to say her last name too, and I just totally butchered that. Good morning, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. SL Parent is with us as well as Catherine is here too. Good morning to everyone who is in our live chat. Also to all of you that are listening to this as a podcast, we really appreciate you too. No matter how you gain this media, we would really appreciate if you would like and subscribe and share what you're listening to, because we are trying to grow this to reach out to other Christian writers, to be a community that people can be a part of. Speaking of community, if you are not a member of our Facebook group, we think you should go over there and join it, because it's a lot of fun over there. And I say that, and I'm the worst person. I am almost never over there, and I am so sorry. When I do go over there, I'm like, oh, I love these guys so much. Like the Saturday shenanigans never fails to entertain, and there's always like some good comments, and people ask questions, and there's always good answers from people. It's a great little community of Christian writers. So, and I will tell you, I have been a member of other Facebook groups that are Christian writers, and it makes me want to pull my hair out. And I'm not to be critical, not to be Jen on this matter. Like, I'm not even going to say Dorothy or be Julia Sugarbaker without even being Jen on this topic. Truly, our Facebook group is a gem, and if you're not part of it, you should come join it.
So. Agree.
All right, so today's topic, we might have a quick episode today for a couple of different reasons. So if we don't do a full, first of all, we don't have Tina, so it should be like a third length shorter, right? In essence, you would think that, even though I'm the probably big talker of the group. But we just have a lot going on, and it is kind of a shorter topic, I think, but it's fun. We love talking about this. But have you been struggling to find time to finish your novel? Do you think to yourself, oh, I just don't have time to write, and so it just sits there on the back burner? It sits on a shelf or somewhere in a hidden folder in your laptop. Well, we have a solution for you, because we've all been there. Truly. I mean, I did not start seriously writing until 2016. So how old would I be? Wait, look, that's like 10 years ago. Oh my gosh. That's 10 years ago.
Crazy.
So I would have been giving it away. I'd have been 42 when I started writing. And so it's never too late. For 42 years of my life, I was going to be a writer. I had all these ideas. I'd make notes, and I would kind of prepare, and I maybe start a little bit, but I didn't get serious until then. So did it mean that I sat down and I made it a full-time job right away? No, it isn't. That is not how it happened. So we're going to talk about our number one way to get that novel finished.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it kind of coincides with something's coming up starting next week, right? Yeah.
Right. Very exciting.
Okay, so we're going to talk today about how to start your own sprint habit today. Now, if you've ever watched any of our podcasts, you know how we feel about sprints. We have a book, literally a book.
Literally, we wrote the book on sprints.
On sprinting. It's a workbook. It's lovely. It's lovely. Okay, that's an inside joke that no one gets but me. I've been watching someone on YouTube that I'll talk about later. So anyway,
okay,
that'll be my what's up. Okay, so if you've been waiting for that perfect time to start writing, it just isn't going to happen. Like the perfect inspiration, it just isn't going to happen. That is not how life works.
Mm-mm.
Can you imagine if we got up in the morning and we're like, when the perfect time happens, I'll brush my teeth. When I get the
Right.
inspiration to shower, I'll do it. No, like I
Mhm.
have to shower. So I just go and I do it, right? It doesn't take me long. It takes me 10 minutes, 20, 30 minutes tops, depending on, what kind of mood I'm in, right?
Mhm.
But I don't wait for the perfect inspiration. So, but what I do with the showering is what? It's the same time every day. I brush my
Mm.
teeth with my brush. Brushing my teeth happens at the same
I
time.
guess you are teething your brush, really. You are applying
Mm,
teeth to your brush,
this
so
is true. It could be either way. This is true. We
mhm.
should start a whole new fad, right? All right. So, our number one tip for starting a sprint habit is to choose a consistent daily time. Now,
Right.
does that mean if you miss that, then you're a failure? No, because some people will take and just make sure that before they go to bed that they've done it.
Mhm.
Like a checklist thing. Like, did I sprint today? Oh, I didn't sprint today. I can't go to sleep yet. But if you pick a certain time every day, some people will do it on their lunch break. Jamie does this
Mhm.
show on her lunch break.
Yeah.
We will do. You can do it first thing in the morning. As soon as the science shows that if you do it first thing in the morning when you're fresh, you will have a better like you produce better supposedly. But
Mhm.
let's just which
Then
is
I
why.
would recommend for pen and paper writers for sure, because there's the whole
Mm,
firing up the laptop or getting to the computer that would be a roadblock, right?
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
For anybody who is a teacher or former teacher or former student, which we all are, this is why if you look at school schedules, calculus is first hour of the day.
Mm.
And some of the like other electives, like art, they will often put towards the end of the day. Some schools have them all day long. Like if it's a big school, the calculus teacher teaches it every single hour. But for smaller schools, they prioritize it to be in the morning. And that's why, because science proves that your brain is the freshest then.
Mhm. And I would say, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about how the sprinting can lead to bigger and better, but
Mhm.
I've always heard this for just about any discipline requiring activity. So for workouts or for any other habit that has to do with quote unquote disciplining yourself, it's you have to start to feel like you want to do it. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as waiting till you feel like it. And
Mhm.
then I just have a little bit of a word of advice. When you pick this time of day, I would give yourself a time frame. Like, I'm going to try this time of day, and then I'm going to reevaluate in 4 weeks. And make sure you take a look at your calendar and make sure you don't have a birthday party during that time of the day on
Mhm.
one of those days within that 4 weeks. And then you can reevaluate and reassess. If you need to make it shorter, just say, okay, for 1 week, I'm going to try it. And then it gives you the opportunity to still feel like a success because you're kind of prototyping your sprint journey and you're
Mhm.
giving yourself the opportunity to change things that aren't working so that you don't get that feeling of, oh no, I didn't do it.
Right. So here's back to my teeth brushing example. I brush my teeth first thing before coffee, before lunch, or before breakfast. And if I feel like I need to again, like afterwards, I'll brush again. But I always brush it first thing. And people are like, "Oh, how can you do that?" Because I have found that if I don't, sometimes it'll be noon and I'm like, I don't think I brushed my teeth. Like I had to be consistent. And since breakfast isn't always consistent for me, sometimes I just have coffee. Sometimes I feel like making a full breakfast. Sometimes I grab like a piece of toast, like this morning. Sometimes I just intermittent fast and don't eat at all. So I cannot base my brushing of my teeth on breakfast. I have to base it on something that's consistent, which is getting out of bed. So for me, as soon as I
Mm-hmm.
get out of bed, I brush my teeth. So having said that, consistency makes it that it matters more than like how long you're sitting down. So if it's in the morning, if you choose morning, or let's switch up because we keep saying morning. Let's say you choose evening as soon as you're done with
Mm-hmm.
dinner. Dishes are
Or after
done
the kids go to
or
bed.
after the kids go to bed, right? Let's say it's been a rough day and dinner was late. Kids still had homework on top of sports that you just got home from. It is late and you just like, oh, but it's bedtime. And before you go to bed, you're right. Consistency is more important than length. You sit down, you do one sprint. I don't even care if you do half a sprint. You do it to stay consistent, because that is going to be more important than like, oh, I'll wait till I have a 2-hour period and I can do several sprints in a row, which glory be, that is awesome. If you can do that, I do support that as well. But you need to be more about consistency then.
Well,
Piper says she just realized that she hasn't eaten breakfast yet. Does that mean you haven't brushed your teeth? Depends on who you are, right?
and I think, Jen, you make an important point that transitions us neatly into like the second tip, because the consistency is important so that you start to maybe feel a little bit physically uncomfortable if it's that time of day and you're not in your writing environment. So the consistency is key. But then we're going to talk about, you just said it doesn't have to be 2 hours. So how do you find your writing sweet spot?
You just do a 15-minute sprint.
Just a 15-minute sprint. Yeah.
Now, I am a huge advocate of the 25-minute sprints, because we've talked, and you will see in our book, if you buy our book or you go back and you watch any of our old episodes, that we do the Pomodoro. When I am doing sprinting full on, we do the Pomodoro, which is 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and then 25 minutes on. It's there's science behind it. The reason why we do 15-minute sprints for our challenge here is because as a podcast, we have chosen to do 15-minute sprints for what we share every episode. So if you're new to this, if you just kind of happen across us and this is a new thing for you, every week we will take a prompt and we write to the same exact prompt. We set a timer for 15 minutes and then we share live what we just wrote. We don't edit it. Like we do this before the podcast starts, but we share it live on the podcast. And we did that out of necessity, because if all four of us, back in the day, there were 4 of us on the podcast. If all 4 of us were to share our 25-minute writing, it would have been a very long episode. It's like, because we thought about that. We tried that. We're like, ooh, so we brought it back down to 15 minutes, and that was a sweet spot for us. What we've learned since doing that is that 15 minutes is so much more approachable to new writers. It's so much more approachable to writers that have gotten out of the habit. For people that are struggling or feel like that they aren't successful in their writing career right now, 15 minutes is very doable for anybody. So that's why we're saying 15 minutes is going to change your writing career.
Yeah. And who doesn't have an extra 15 minutes?
Right.
To talk about almost a half an hour, almost double that, is a little bit daunting. There's 15 minutes that you can carve out of your day to commit to your writing, we hope, for you, and it'll make you feel accomplished with just a short amount of effort.
Right. Agreed. And honestly, like if it feels like it's too much, you can start with 10 if 10 feels better to you. We think you can do 15, but you know what? Like I said, if it's been a rough day and it's bedtime and you realize you haven't sprinted yet and you can't go to bed until you sprint, then you can do that. So this is not in our outline, but I'm going to add it because it's something that I've kind of been doing, and I was going to hold it off for its episode of its own, which I still will. But there is an app out there that my daughters years ago had me download, and they've been using it, and I just didn't get into it. I didn't get into it because I was like, the app is called Finch. And what it is, you get a little bird. They call it a burb. I don't know why, but they do. And when it kind of auto populates things that you're supposed to do. And when you do it, you get like little points. You feed your bird. I don't even remember now. Even though I use it, I don't really pay much attention. But I kind of didn't use it because I didn't need to be reminded to wash my face or brush my teeth. That was the kind of thing. Drink water. I do it all day long. So like it didn't, all I was doing was going in and clicking a button. It made no sense to me. But then I kept getting this winter, I kept getting ads for this app of people using it for cleaning their house. Now, if you know me, if you look at my desk behind me here, I am not a domestic goddess. Like I can cook and I can bake. The keeping the laundry caught up, keeping like my house, like company visitor ready, I'm not good at that. So I'm like, you know what? I didn't know that we could adapt this app. So I went in and I changed it all and I made it. And it has changed my life. Now, my house right now is a mess because we tore my daughter's room apart because we're repainting it and everything. But it has made a difference for me. And I thought, what if I use this for writing? What if I have to click every day that I sprinted? or I don't get the points for that day. So that will be an upcoming episode as I adapt that. But Sarah says, I get diminishing returns on sprints longer than 15 minutes. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So see, we're all different. So the reason why the 25-minute thing works is because of brain-wise that after 25 minutes, your brain stops, you stop producing at the same rate. If you take a then you write for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and you get up and you move around. You don't just sit there and scroll. You get up, move around, you do something, you go get a glass of water, but you get away from your computer, and then you come back and you write again. But that doesn't mean that everybody's body science is the same. So that's very interesting that Sarah has found that 15 minutes is the key for her. So it might be the key for more people. So that's very interesting. So
I love that. And I feel like when we say start at 10 minutes or start at less, we have given the advice before. You could have a goal of just opening your manuscript every day, but that's not where we're at with today's episode. But I just kind of wanted to say that we're not backing off from that. If the most you can do is open your manuscript on a daily basis, that's when Jen said location and timing is more important than the actual amount of time you spend.
right. Catherine says that she writes in 30-minute increments. If she's rolling, she'll keep going. If she's stuck, she does 10. Again, and if I get stuck, I go to pen and paper, which I'm
Nice.
considering doing for our challenge, which we'll get to at the end of the
Hmm.
episode. All right,
Okay.
so we've kind of hinted at it, but we've not really said. So the first tip was to choose a consistent time of day. The second tip is to set a timer. So whether you choose 15 minutes or 10 minutes, set a timer. And here's why this is important. Not that you're going to like lose track of your 10 minutes. It's that you will let other things bleed in if you don't have a timer. If you set a timer for 15 minutes and you tell yourself and everybody in your household when the timer's on, unless there's blood, that's what I used to tell my kids when they were little, unless there's blood, don't interrupt mommy. Like, because they would, to them, a fight between the two of them would have been an emergency. Unless you see blood, don't come interrupt me. Which the worst was when they came, mommy, I see blood. I was like, it was one of my daughters had brushed too hard, and had like a little blood. But anyway, so you set the timer for 15 minutes and you don't do anything but write. Don't scroll, don't answer the phone, spend those 15 minutes. And anyone can spend 15 minutes focused on and not check their phone, right? I would agree. And if you think you can't, then maybe we need to have a deeper conversation about screen time addictions, but that's a whole nother episode.
If you want an excuse to shop for something besides pens and bullet journals, you can determine that you're going to put your phone in a drawer and go buy yourself a cute timer.
Yes.
So,
which is how the Pomodoro method got the name Pomodoros. He used a tomato-shaped timer. So sorry, that's a little history.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you could use an object other than your phone to reduce the temptation of checking your phone, or looking at your phone when you're trying to be focused on your writing.
Yeah. And setting the 15-minute timer, it also removes this pressure of like, I got to write a chapter today. I got to get this chapter done. Nope. I just have to write for 15 minutes. And then you can say, you know what? I feel good. I can keep writing. I can expand this. No, my goal was 15 minutes, but I can always expand it. Right. This is your goal. It also,
go ahead.
It also like takes the pressure off of like a set number of words or a chapter can feel like a lot. Some people that motivates some people, but it demotivates other people. And 15 minutes is like, I might get 2 words in those 15 minutes, right? But I did what I was supposed to.
That's awesome. And I was just going to say, give yourself permission to, but it was like going into our next, our next point, which is to give yourself a prompt to write to. Because what I was going to say is like, don't feel like you have to write on your work in progress either. So anyway, yeah, that's our next tip.
When we first started doing the podcast, we've always used prompts from day one. Like you can go back. I don't suggest that you do, but you can go back to the first episodes and watch us and listen to our writing. The first episodes are so bad. Please don't go back. But anyway, we were using prompts, and I don't know, halfway through our first year, or maybe at the end of the first year, I realized I had like 50 story ideas that I wanted to continue. And I was like, no. So then I started taking the prompt and making myself use that prompt in the world that I was writing in. And so
Mm-hmm.
it can go either way. You can use the prompt and just let the prompt take you wherever it goes. And that writing is not wasted, because just using that writing, it will either A, spark a new story idea for you, or B, it'll just get you writing. And then you're ready to get back into your story that maybe you felt stuck in. Or you can use that prompt and really challenge yourself. Like, I'm going to have to find a way to use these words in Marnie's world, even though it uses the word, I don't know, cotillion, things that I would not use in her world. And that can be fun too. It's a fun challenge. So,
Yeah, the challenge of it can be what brings you back sometimes. And
mhm.
to your point about no sprints are ever wasted, I am once again going to bring up one of my pet writing quotes, which is from Ira Glass. It's really lengthy and difficult to memorize, but the summation of it is you have to produce a lot of junky work as an artist before you can duplicate the masters of your craft. So if you see writing that you love and you're like, I wish I could write like that, the path to get there is words upon words. It's a muscle like any other. And if you don't exercise it, it won't get stronger and you won't improve. So writing sprints are not a waste. You can think of it like the pots that a potter makes that never make it to market because they're not perfectly this, or they've got a crack, or they've got the kiln. Every other artist has to go through a process of mastering their craft. Writers are no different. So no sprint is ever wasted.
That's very, very true. You don't see somebody go out for the first time that they put on ballet shoes and all of a sudden perform in front of somebody, right? It takes
Right.
time, it takes practice. Yep. So, okay. So the prompt, like we said, I can use it for my current project. You can take the prompt and just work on a character. That's another way that you're not wasting it. It might not be something you ever use. Like I did write in Marnie's world today. I don't know that I would ever use what I wrote, but it helps develop the character. And sometimes, like today, I'm like, I don't think this is her, but that's okay. It helped me develop what I do think is her, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, dialogue practice. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
writing a sprint that's only dialogue, which
We've
is
done it a couple times,
yeah,
haven't we?
yeah. It's harder to read it out loud for people to follow it, I think. I mean, I guess if you change your voice a little bit, it's easier
Mm-hmm.
when you're reading it because it's a new line for each person. But I love that, and it moves fast, and it helps you to like develop like your dialogue writing. Um,
Our book will give you 30 days of writing sprint prompts if you need
there
a
you go.
prompt source. And you can go like we do to a random word generator and just give yourself a handful of words to be your prompt.
Yep. Tina has used it prompts before just to do backstory, like,
Oh, yeah.
and not
Mm-hmm.
used it in her story, but just for her to kind of go back and like kind of develop like what the history of her character is. So, yep. For example, like if you are writing, I don't know, historical Christian romance or whatever, you could write the moment that your heroine first realizes that she can trust the hero, even if it's not in the book, right? Or you can write
Mm.
maybe the time when she was younger that she first watched somebody show true love to someone else, or the opposite of that. Dun dun dun. Right. So,
I feel like a lot of times when authors are stuck at something in their novel, and if they were to articulate to a writing friend, what I really can't figure out is X, Y, and Z. 9 times out of 10, the prescription is a sprint. You just have to think about what problem am I trying to solve, and then write a sprint that involves that to see exactly what happens. Because we all know who've been writing for any amount of time, sometimes your characters have a mind of their own, and the truth will be revealed to you as you write the scene.
mhm. All right. So number 3 was use a prompt. Step
Mm-hmm.
4, stop when the timer ends. Jamie, why are we stopping when the timer ends?
Because that's the number one way to get yourself back to writing. If you are right in the middle of the juiciest thing ever, you're basically giving yourself a cliffhanger and it'll make
Yes.
you want to come back. So it's like just as good for you as it is for your reader for you to sometimes just want to be coming back for more. And isn't that a way better feeling than, I'm stuck in this writer's block funk or whatever?
And it's okay to do multiple sprints in a row. We are fans of that. But when that timer goes off, stop writing. Get up, move
Mm-hmm.
around, call a friend, something. Do like we are bad about this during the challenge because we'll sit here and chat with each other, which is good, but we don't get up and move around. We should all like make ourselves stand up and talk to each other. But do not just stay and stare at the because you'll be tempted and you're not actually leaving it like hanging, but you need that time away. Trust us, it'll make a big difference.
Well, and I can't remember if it was Albert Einstein or Henry Ford. It was someone who was considered like a genius and or
Jennifer Tong.
person in there. Jennifer Tong. They would say, "I leave my work and go lie on my couch, and that's when I really start working." Because the time away from what you're doing, and this is often why we say once you finished your first draft to put it away and don't look at it for a certain amount of time, is because the workings of the human brain, a lot of things happen in the background. And that's why Jen was saying, go do something else, go wash some dishes or load the dishwasher or fold a basket full of laundry before you come back so that those subconscious processes can work.
And if you're like in the middle of a thought process and you're afraid of losing it, because that's happened before, just write yourself, just jot down a quick note. Like do something that'll remind you of it so that you can walk away. Right. So, all right. Step 5. What's step 5, Jamie?
Celebrate good times. Come on. And we're saying you're going to celebrate that you progressed. You're not going to wait until you're doing things perfectly. Every little step you make toward achieving your writing goal or developing the sprint prompt habit, you're going to celebrate even those small wins. Because I feel like this is not true of every writer, but I feel like we're really good at beating ourselves up. I think moms in general are good at beating ourselves up and wondering, are we doing right or whatever? And it's like, why are you your worst enemy and not your number one fan?
Right. So true. Like Jamie will say something and I'll be like, are you kidding? You're beautiful or whatever. Like, I just don't understand how she can't see herself the way I see herself. But then I do it too. And she says like, are you kidding me? Like, why are we our own worst critic, like as women? But as writers, I feel like it's even more intensified, right? We either think what we wrote is just the greatest thing ever and doesn't need to be edited, and I'm just the world's gonna love it, or the opposite of that, or a mixture of both. I feel like sometimes I'm like, I'm the greatest writer ever, and then other times I'm like, I'm crap. I should never publish anything ever again.
Right.
Like, yeah. Yep. So celebrate the successes when you can, the little successes.
Yes.
Right? So ways you can do that, you can have a habit tracker. Like I do it for people have it for water, that's what that
your little Finch app. Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a habit tracker, honestly, but it's electronic because it will beep at me. Like if I have it, I'm like, hey, I need my burb Queenie. And I have she has a crown on her head. And you can become friends with other people too. So anyway, so Queenie's still waiting for you to wake her up. I'm like, oh, sorry, Queenie. Anyway.
Queenie's waiting to be woken up. That's not me. No, let me sleep. Anyway, if you want to do it, if you want to do it like the analog way, you could just say, I did it out loud without logging onto anything. Just say, hooray for me. I actually did it. I did it. I wrote today. That's usually the actual words that I use. Right?
Yeah. And I think sharing it with a writing group is important too, which is why our challenge is so great if you are part of our Patreon, because we do it. We have opportunities for you to do it to write and sprint together. So we're done. And like everyone's mics go live and people be like, well, those are words, or I did it. Like I wrote today. Like, so it's great to be able to say it out loud and to share it in a writing group. But if you're not even, you could have a text thread with other writers and just be like in there, I wrote today, like, yay, everyone can cheer you on, and that's a good thing. So
we'll cheer you on. Come to our Facebook group. If there's no one else in your life, do not be shy about joining and letting us know you wrote.
We have on here, treat yourself to coffee or chocolate. Yes, that
You
would be
mean I need
great.
a reason to have
Right.
coffee?
I know.
That
That would
doesn't
be
work
good.
for me because it's
Well,
not a treat.
well, what? Oh, I was gonna say, what if I wasn't allowed to have coffee until I had sprinted?
Ooh.
Oh, there'd be a
Mm.
lot of
What's
writing
your reward?
happening in this house.
Then you could say, Queenie is waiting for you to write so she can have coffee.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Um,
All right.
yeah, and above all, like I trust God with my writing career. Like he knows what I've gone through over the past several years and he shows me more grace than I show myself, right? So I just need to remember to thank him when I do have these little successes too and make sure that I also enter into having him part of the process as well. A lot of times when
Yes.
I'm frustrated, I realize it's cuz I've not like had him part of the process of what I should be doing. That's a whole
This
little
is I want to
story.
share because I'm feeling massive conviction about this hint and tip that I heard that I have yet to implement, which I really should.
Mhm.
But there's like studies that show if you start your day with gratitude,
Mm.
that can do wonders for any kind of like depression or
Mm.
maybe the seasonal affective or whatever. So if you start your day right away with just being thankful, I know we're talking in the context of prompts, but I just feel like I should just throw that out there for
Yeah, no,
anybody
it
who needs.
yeah, I think it totally fits. Yeah.
So say three things you're thankful for and make one of them, your ability to write, your creativity, whatever, just to inspire you.
That's actually built into the app too. At least once a week, you get like it makes you type in something you're grateful for. It's for you to get
That's
more
very
points.
cute.
Yeah,
I like.
I will have to like.
I keep
I'm.
trying to get my daughter to sign up for that because
She'll
she's
love
very
it.
like completion-y.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she would like really do well.
Right.
I think that's exactly the kind of thing to motivate her. I'm going to remind her today.
Mine is very complex. I have it very complex now, which is good because that's how I think, I guess. Like I have every other week chores that only pop up in there I have daily stuff. I have things that like
Mm.
once a week on certain days. Like you can very much customize it. So all right, as we wrap this up, just as a reminder, you don't need hours. You don't need to complete an entire chapter. It doesn't have to be a perfect situation, a perfect
Mm-mm.
office, clearly. Doesn't have to be like you don't even really need motivation. You just got to do it, right? Just one
Right.
small daily, yes. I'm going to sit down at my laptop. I'm going to sit down with paper and pen for 15 minutes and that will turn into a lot of words. So normally for 15 minutes, I can get on an average about 250 words. That's pretty low average, right? If I did that every single day, why'd I do this to myself that I have to do math live? Um,
If you
what is
did
that?
that for 5 days,
7,500.
that would be faster. Like if you did 4 days, that'd be 100 words every 4 days.
Yeah, but I was just, what is that? 7,500 words a month when you do
Maybe.
something like that. Um, 30 times 20. Yeah, it's like 7,500
Wow.
words. So
Yeah.
then that's nothing to sneeze at, right? That's a
No.
novel a year, less than a year,
Mhm.
honestly. So,
Mhm.
oh, Piper has her Finch and her bird's name is Poppy. All right,
That's cute.
Piper, we're gonna have to be friends on there. So,
Do you get points for making friends? You should.
you can send encouragement to friends. I wish you could personalize the encouragement. You have to just send them kudos and you don't know what is actually being sent, but there's nothing inappropriate or anything. But I would love to send because I follow my daughters, so I'd like to be able to send specific things like kudos on your biblical studies exam to my daughter who's in college,
Right.
like that. So, but you can't. It's just kudos or whatnot. Usually I send good night wishes and like that. So, but
So
you can
Jen,
also send them. So if there's a specific thing I'm struggling to do, like sprinting, you can share that with friends so that every time you do it, they get an alert that you did it so they can encourage you. So
oh, I
that's
love
cool.
that.
That part's cool. Yeah.
Well, Jen,
Mhm.
what would be a good day for me to start my 15-minute writing sprint commitment, do
Like
you
with
think?
maybe some built-in accountability so that
Yeah, and
maybe others can do it
encouragement.
together. They
Yeah.
can
When
encourage each
when can
other.
we do such a thing?
I think April 1st would be a great time to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us once again to have a 30 days of writing sprints challenge. We did our first one last November as like y'all remember it was like I think I'm going to
Spur of the
sprint
moment.
every day and then it became a
Mhm.
challenge and we loved it. It turned out
Mhm.
really great. Our Patreon was just so much fun with it. And so we're doing it again in April. So here it is. It's very low key. It, you do not have to be part of our Patreon, but we're gonna. Oh, I don't have it in the show notes. I will add it to the show notes after the show. A link to a website that Jamie created. Right? We can use that website. No, we can't.
Sure. A lot of it, I'll have to make some of it is not functional. Some of it was just like wish list stuff. So I
Well,
can make
can
those
I just send
disabled
it
maybe.
to the page that has the sign up sheet? Is that an active
Sure.
sign up sheet?
Yeah, I hope so. Sorry,
Okay.
for what Jen's talking about, I did that as part of a project, and it was really fun. Anyway, go ahead, Jen.
Okay, by April 1st, we will have some
We'll
sort of
figure it out.
link in the show notes so that you can sign up for it. And you don't have to be part of our Patreon. You just you could be part of our Facebook group for free and can and post in there. But if you are part of our Patreon, which Catherine is, and she says, woohoo, we have times we're going to do the same times this time around. Because we don't have Tina. We talked about splitting up, and doing 2 times a day, but without Tina, we just want to make sure that we're not overextending ourselves. So every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, every weekend at 8 a.m. Eastern. And I know that does not work out for everybody. So sorry that I didn't turn my ringer off. That does not work out for everybody, but it works the best for us, honestly. Like this is what we're trying to like kind of be somewhere in the middle of the road. We will meet in a Zoom call with anyone who's in our lowest level of Patreon, $5. All you gotta do is give us $5. I say give us, it sounds so like sleazy, but really it helps us.
Donate, contribute.
Yes, it helps to pay for this podcast because for all these years we've been paying out our own pocket, and it's we want to continue. There are other things we want to do with the podcast, and so everyone that helps us with the Patreon is helping us to further the future of this podcast. But we will meet and we do multiple in a row. Do you have to do multiple? No. There were days that I just showed up and like did my 15 minutes. I'm like, deuces, see you guys later. I gotta go. And others would stay and keep writing. But it's a lot of fun. I made a lot of progress. Others made a lot of progress. We just got back into the writing habit. And so if this is something you're interested in, we would love for you to join us. I will have a link in the show notes, which I don't right now. Gosh, I'm so disorganized this week, but I will add a link to the show notes that will have all of the link to Patreon and eventually to the page for you to register to be part of this. And that's it. Costs no money. It's free unless you want to be part of our Patreon and live sprint with us.
And yeah, we're going to have a really good time and have lots of little wins to celebrate. And we'd love to celebrate with you.
Yes, very exciting. All right, it's time for us to move on. We have to do our feeding of the backs before we do our what's up. Jamie, will you share with us what the prompt was and what you wrote?
Sure. Today we had 5 words that we had to compose our sprint around. Those words were farewell, elaborate, rally, offend, and decrease. And I think I got 3 out of 5, really, which is odd for me. All right. Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's not make this a long goodbye. Monica tried to squash the sound of the Von Trapp children singing their farewells and adieus, which immediately popped into her head as she uttered the words. Charles was not a fan of her habit of randomly breaking into song at the oddest moments, as he put it, and refused to hear one word about how all the songs were not random and the moments she chose for sharing them were not odd. But that's the reason she's dumping him. So, oh well, she thought, and actually shrugged. Charles misinterpreted the gesture. Of course he did. So that's it? A goodbye and a shrug of the shoulders. I'm getting on a plane to Switzerland, where I am undergoing a dangerous procedure. There's a chance I may never return. I should be so lucky, Monica thought, then winced, realizing for the 11 millionth time that while she was through with Charles and was dumping him, he had yet to be informed of this fact. Quickly, her mind raced to figure out what sort of elaborate goodbye would be appropriate to the occasion. Maybe I should just sing the song, she thought. Maybe he will break up with me. No such luck. If there was one gift Charles appreciated more than anything, it was for Monica to give him something to complain about. But there wasn't any more time for strategizing. She'd already wasted several milliseconds on that. Suddenly, a plan popped into her head and she executed it immediately. Don't you think I've considered that? She snapped. Don't you think I'm painfully aware of the risks involved with this trip? She really threw herself into it, intentionally bringing up her childhood pet cat who had been put down after a case of feline influenza. Tears actually brimmed up in her eyes. The expression on Charles' face was so comically astonished that Monica almost blew the whole act by laughing. Exactly what will be accomplished by a long, torturous goodbye? Her voice actually quavered as she spoke the words. Monica was giddy. I had no idea. I didn't mean to offend. Suddenly turning tender, Monica laid a finger on his lips. He was just a big man baby after all. Hush, she said, and silently applauded herself for not continuing with the lyrics, Little baby, don't say a word. Just leave it there until I hear from you from the other side. She meant from Switzerland, but immediately saw in Charles' eyes, and by the way his throat worked around a large swallow, that he took her to mean the great beyond. She withdrew her finger and he nodded, then turned to hurry toward his gate. Monica watched him scuttle away, a soft smile on her lips. Then she turned and walked composedly out of the airport, even though in her mind she was skipping and singing, hot, hot diggity dog.
Jamie, that was so enjoyable to listen to. You are Monica.
It was fun to write.
For anyone who's new and doesn't know, you're totally Monica.
Yes.
My gosh, that's so awesome. When she put her fingers on his lips, I mean, I was laughing already, but oh my gosh, that was so good. I don't even know what else to say other than I just so enjoyed that. Obviously, I couldn't stop laughing. You could probably hear me the whole time. But your Catherine is also laughing a lot along with me. Piper says that was awesome. I agree. That was great characterization. I love that. And it is a complete story, like beginning, middle, end. It's complete. Would not hate if these characters showed up again in your writing because it was that enjoyable. SL Parent says, "Hello, Jamie. I'm rolling. Fantastic. Yeah, that was great. I can't wait to follow that. For those of you who don't know, I actually don't feel good this morning.
We were running a little late.
Yeah, because I'm not feeling well, but I pushed through because I didn't want to cancel again on everybody. And it's so hard when there's just two of us, and my writing got interrupted, and also so it's short. It's just bad. Anyway, anything I wrote following that, no words are wasted. This is a great example of that. Jamie did a fabulous job. I sprinted, and I will celebrate the fact that I sprinted. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. All right,
here we go. It was time. It was finally time to say farewell to the old Marnie and usher in the new era of confident Marnie. But as she stood on the sidewalk staring at the entrance, trying desperately to rally the gumption to enter the new era, confident Marnie was nowhere to be found. She hated this. She hated that she'd become this person. She hated that in order to fit in, to not offend others, she had in turn minimized herself, decreased her true personality. And for what? A paycheck? A paycheck that paid her student loans and still allowed her to eat, true. But did she really need to become someone else in order to keep her job? She knew the answer. This company wanted yes men. If she wasn't willing to do that, there were a dozen other recent college grads waiting to take her spot. What exactly are we looking at? Marnie jumped. Mr. Boss stood next to her, gazing intently at the front door, Ray along with her. When had he gotten here? Nothing. I was just going in. 3, 2, 1. That's it.
Okay, no, but don't be like that's it and throw your hands up, because I feel like when you were talking earlier about the character work that you can do in a sprint, so I think almost this is a bonus limitation or bonus of limiting yourself. So if you force yourself to write to a prompt in your current work in progress, this is the kind of thing that you can work out.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that as an author, you have this growth arc, this character arc of this character that you would never necessarily, you might, depending on your style as a writer, really just say it. It would be a more show, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
But the sprint, which is not necessarily meant to be included in the final draft, you can just tell. You can just work through these issues by just straight up saying, she is out with the old and in with the new, or whatever the situation is. And it gives you a playground to where you can explore, do you want this and do you want that? And so it's funny because as a fan of this like series, and I've been listening to this, and like that to me was like an excellent contribution to the whole work. But I know what you mean, that you feel like it's not quote unquote usable, but it is. It was usable for us who've been listening, because it's a scene that I could appreciate knowing Marnie.
Right. And Catherine says that snippet of a scene could certainly fit somewhere in that book. Yes, I agree. Here's what I got out of it as I read it the second time. I love the idea of her standing, staring at the door, and him just showing up, drinking a coffee, looking at her, she not noticing him, he's there. You know what I mean? Like, and then finally him saying, what are we doing here? Like, I love that. I don't know that this is what she's thinking. Right. So as I write this story, I have in the back of my mind this scene that I'm somehow going to fit in, because I just love that image, that little scene that probably will fit in some other way.
What I thought this was her leaving the job she left before she came here. And I thought she maybe even was going into the building for her interview, because she was committing to herself that at this job she was going to be authentic. Like, that's what I thought it was until Mr. Voss showed up. And then another funny thing that came to me is, did you ever see those thought experiments where they put somebody and they have them stand there, and before long a bunch of other people are standing there? Because there must be something, we're looking at something, do you know what I mean? So it'd be funny if other people from the, like an alternative, so like the little,
oh my gosh,
that she knows, and they're all looking like,
no, so that's so good. So he shows up first, and then she's like kind of like and he just keeps looking as he's talking, and she can't walk away because he's the boss, and she's like, well, and then his dad shows up, what are we looking at? And then now she's got both bosses. That would be such a good scene. See, that's what I'm saying. So would not have gotten that if A, I hadn't sprinted it, and B, I had not shared it with a writing friend, right? That my success. Hey, I sprinted today. Here it is. So yeah. So that's awesome.
Appreciate you, Jen.
Yeah. So this is what sprinting does. So if you have not tried it yet, please join us for this challenge. If you are a big fan of sprinting, please join us for this challenge. It is a lot of fun. I can't believe how successful it was for me this last November. And so I'm looking forward to April. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also a little nervous. April's gonna be super busy for me, but I know I can do this. 15 minutes. I can do this.
And if you can't show up for our assigned time, Jen, just spend 15 minutes at some point of your day.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
All right. Well, we're short on time, so I'm going to tell you that my what's up is I get grandbaby time coming up soon. Yay. I have Monday off to intentionally spend with my grandson, so that's going to be fun for me. What about you, Jen?
I forgot what I was going to say. Earlier in the episode, I said something like, I'll get to the, and I don't
probably
remember.
the Burb app, maybe. No,
it was something, but that's okay. But it's, next weekend is Easter. It's next weekend is Good Friday. We normally do not do a podcast on Good Friday. We've missed a few, but I feel very strongly, but I don't do them on Good Friday. So we won't be here next week, but we will be sprinting. So join us in the Facebook group, and on our Patreon so that you can be part of it. And so, yeah, but, SL says my internet hiccups, so I missed the first beats, Jen, but I want this book on my shelf. No pressure. I'm hoping Mr. Boss stays unnamed for a long time. Yeah, that's the plan. That was Jamie's
And
idea.
now
Early
here
on.
I sit, Marnie, Mrs. Boss, in my whatever.
Yeah, the first time that we hear his name is he should be calling her Mrs. Whatever.
Oh,
Right?
that's wonderful. Oh, I got
That would be fun.
goosebumps. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Until next time, may your pen be prolific and may your deadlines be met and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye, everyone.
Bye.